Hello everybody, Gerone Wright here, and excuse me, and once again you're joining me on my Gerone Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. I have a picture up here of the Akhenatens and the Pharaoh Akhenaten and the Queen Nefertiti and their babies. And there's always been a lot of question about this image and about them looking like aliens and there being some type of celestial connection with them, with space. It is stated that Akhenaten was a sun-worshipping god. Was a sun-worshipping pharaoh, excuse me. And he worshipped the sun as if it was God. Yep. And I believe that a lot of people equate this with being that of the sun, based on these rays coming down, this illumination, and I guess maybe whatever people translated the text to be. But I think I'm believing that I found overwhelming evidence that detail this object as being not the sun, but actually as being the moon. And I'm just going to go through some basic findings that I have just on that before I start going into my hard evidence to support my findings. The reason why I call this a moon, because we all know that a sun illuminates on all sides. This does not do this. This is just illuminating, has these lines going down. The next thing about this is that there is a strange object, a circular object with a line going down it, looking like some sort of either seed or an object that is on that would supposedly be the sun. But again, I can't, to me this is not the sun. I see this as being not the sun, but as a seed, a celestial seed. They're describing what they're describing in my mind is the moon in one of its cycles. And what this is the dark side of the moon. And I'll start going into other evidence that I have to support this. That object that is there, you see that there? I'm going to bring it in closer in another image. Is another circle attaching a body. And there it is right there in the corner right here. Another circle attaching a body. Right there. Here it is in another image. And I'm going to bring it in closer so you can see. And again, you have the same thing. You have, it seems like a moon in another cycle. And then you have an object, which is either on the moon or shown going to the moon, and there's a circle there. These people would not be showing no object into the sun or on the sun, because that is not practical and it is not logical. But it is practical and it is logical for an object to be on the moon or symbolizing a trip to the moon or a space journey to the moon. This would be logical. This becomes logical then. And in fact, this object here almost looks like what we could describe as being a space capsule, with this being the base part down there where the flames would come, and this being the capsule. But let me get a smaller object here, because our older upright capsule, the bottle type capsule, and this being the nose, the body, and this being the part where the emissions would actually emit from. It's my position that the Egyptians seemingly had the technology and the know-how to make it to the moon and possibly to other locations. The Egyptians were engaging in space travel. Now, what other proof do I have to support what I'm stating? Well, those of you that have been following my videos know that I've made this incredible discovery. Here is the 1972 image released by NASA with regards to the Apollo 17 moon mission to the lunar surface. The astronaut there is Harrison Schmitt. Where's my button? Let's see if I can bring this down some. Harrison Schmitt. He's standing next to what appears to be a lunar rock. I have another, this is my 6th video, so I have 5 other videos relating to this, so you must see them to bring yourself up to speed to what's going on. This object, when I first seen this rock, before I even started bringing Egyptian into mind, I saw a circle up here that I called a portal, because this reminds me of those ports on the spaceship. But if you notice here, there's a circle with a ball inside, and then it has lines going up right there. The first thing when I saw that, without even thinking Egyptian or anything, I thought of this immediately. When I first saw the image, when I first saw this, I said, there's glyphs up here. And I said, they look to be like hieroglyphics, like Egyptian. So when I first seen this, I said to myself that this looks like the Egyptian hieroglyphic for what they would be describing as that of the sun. If you look, this is a perfectly circle here. This is a perfect circle there. And then inside, there's an object. And then here, you see the lines coming off. It appears to be this object upside down, like this. You would be looking at it like that. That's what I thought. But then again, there's no hardcore proof because you can't actually read that so well. But then there's another connection to all of that. The other connection that is to that is this right here. There is a face of a Nubian being. Now, when my lady friend seen this image, I showed it to her. The first thing that she said when she saw the image, and I agree, is that this face looks, it says it looks like a Nubian. I said, look at this Nubian face here. I told her that was me. She said, it looks like an Egyptian, one of those Egyptian pharaoh type guys. And she's right. Because if you notice, here's the headpiece, the headgear going all the way up here. And it has, I can bring it in closer to show you, that it has definition describing everything of which it is symbolizing. I'm going to bring it in closer so you can actually see that that is actually actual headgear. That Nubian right there. Oops. What am I? You know what? I have my computer too close over here to this wall here. Chin, mouth. Look at the fullness in the lips. The lips are swollen lips. This is no joke here, people. This is the real deal. Then there is a dimple in the cheek right there. Then there is a nose. Then there is an eye. And then there's tasseling here before it actually goes into the headdress. And then the headdress has an indentation in there. And what it reminds me of is like a pelvic bone of a creature, of like a dinosaur. So where there's an indentation, it's a specific design right here. Now, that same tasseling I find to be here in Akhenaten's headdress, right here. That same exact feature, which is here, right across there, is the same thing that is here with Akhenaten. Now, the rest of the Akhenaten's headpiece is going, but it seems to be something similar to what this guy has on his head right here. But there's more. For those of you, I just released a video a minute ago. Now I'm seeing something else. I see something else now. I see something else just then. For those of you, I just released another video, and I've actually found another face where this is a dragon. There's the Nubian face there. This is a dragon's head here with a little Godzilla creature on the top. There's the Godzilla's head, there's the Godzilla's body, there's the Godzilla's back, and there's his tail on top of the dragon's head. I even put an eye in there so you can realize that that's the eye socket of the dragon. But notice with the dragon that you even have all of the details which represents his reptilian-like eye socket, the skin features, all of the graphic details of this creature are all here. The reptilian-like, what you would see around the iguanas, that little lizard-like skin around their eyes with the indentations, all of the texturing and all of that, everything is here, featured with this creature. But then on the back of that creature is a reptilian man. His chin is stuck in the sand, his mouth, his nose, his eyes, and going over, and it shows that this reptilian's man head is conjoined with that of this dragon creature, showing you that this guy evolved from this guy. Now, I can give it to you. Where am I at? I don't want to get lost. Okay, back to the Egyptian connection on why I believe that this is all Egyptian. That Nubian boy's head is similar in likeness to that face which is on the Great Sphinx as well. I'm going to bring it back in again. And I wonder if I can do, I can't even do a side by side there. See that Nubian? See the face here? Right there? The Nubian face. And I'm going to show you, oh, don't let me, that dimple on the cheek, I'm going to show you something about that. Here. There's the face right there. The similar face of a young face. Now, here's something, here's the statue of Akhenaten in early Armana style. And notice that there is a defining dimple in the cheek. Look at the full lips in the mouth. You see that? That bears, to me, a striking resemblance, again, to the dimple, the sharp lip features of this guy here, and then the closeness in the Egyptian headdress. Everything that is stated about this is seemingly that to be Egyptian. There's also, what you don't realize, is that there's lizards, Akhenaten and Nefertiti bodies seemingly have a reptilian skin to them, which symbolizes that they evolved from the reptilian creature. I noticed that when, back in the earlier times, beginning of mankind, the clothing that they wore, even when you had the, it shows creatures that they knew that they evolved from. In other words, they were cloaked in the, and almost like they were cloaked, they would call it being cloaked in like the flesh of their ancestors. And I realized that this was a lot throughout African history, even though they didn't actually describe it that way. But when you see them wearing the lion skins and monkey skins and all of this here, it was their way. It was an evolutionary passage of information which passed down, which they are describing that they are covenanted in the genes of those creatures. And this was our ancestors' way of describing that they knew who they came from. And this is why they actually wore these different clothing designs. And this is what I'm telling you about this here, is why the earlier on Egyptians came across as being reptilian. Also about these images with these Egyptians are, they're multi-dimensional images, just like in that rock image that I just showed you. Those multi-dimensional images where the dragon's head was hooked to the, well, let me go to that again, where the dragon's head is hooked to the to the man's head, and then the other dinosaur. You see these things here, you see that dinosaur, you see that dragon's head, and then you see that man's likeness on the back, the chin, the mouth, the nose. You can Google this too, by the way, people. This is a 1972 NASA released image of the lunar surface, and the astronaut is Harrison Smith. Okay, and then you have my Nubian guy there. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4 faces, and there's another one in there when you turn it, and you possibly can't see it, and I'm looking at it upside down, but there's another multi-dimensional face in there of an ape, which is right here, and I can see it very well. In fact, let me turn it on this one so I can see. There's the face of an ape that is actually included in there as well too, and I'll highlight that at another time. Oh yeah, I can see it from the side there. Multi-dimensional images which reflect all the creatures, which calls for the likeness of man. Eye socket, nose. Look at the chin features, which you can see the chin lines and all the graphic details, people, of this. And you can actually see the ape face from the side. I can see nostril. The eye would actually be incorporated in here. Okay, I can see an ape's head laying sideways. All creatures which calls for, it's like almost like a four-headed beast, you could almost call it, describing in description. All of these creatures, wherever there is likeness of mankind and his true origins, are there to follow. When you find remarkable finds like this, and what is detailing is all the information which relates to how this guy came to be and how this guy came to be. A multi-dimensional message of how these beings came into existence. Okay, now that we got past that, let's go back here to the Nefertiti image. If you look at Nefertiti here, let me start with her baby. Notice that all of the other children, their bodies are intact, their feet, their hands, all of that is intact. Even the other one here at Akhenaten, the body is intact. But the one here at Nefertiti, if you Google the image of the Akhenaten Akhenaten babies, you will notice that this child feet is disfigured. You see that, and the lower portion of the body is disfigured. It's different than the lower bodies of the brothers and sisters, or sisters and brothers of the others. The bodies are different. You see that? Even the head is seemingly different. You see all of that there? Well, this child is special because it's showing you that this child is bridged. It's the last of the children, and it's showing you that the child is bridged. So what is a child bridged between? This is what these images are all about, genetic bridging and describing genetic bridging. This child is bridged between the ancient genes, the founding roots of that of ape and that of dinosaur. You have no way of knowing that because you do not know this information. But beings, now that I'm describing it to you, you know how to find it and you know how to look for it. Remember how I always tell you about these apes appearing and these dinosaurs appearing? Well, if you look here in Nefertiti's breast area, you would see the chin of an ape here, the bottom lip. You would see this strand of DNA going through the ape's mouth right there. There's the ape's top lip. This would be the ape's nostril area, and the ape's eyes area are created there. What you have here is the face of an ape right there. The next thing that I am telling you about, that's why you see these snaky little objects moving around. This is all the transition of these DNAs and these genetic bridgings. The child's body is deformed down here to the bottom part, and the feet is off. Because see, what the child's body creates is the head of a dinosaur dragon-like creature. The child's feet is missing here because this would create the top snout of that creature where the legs come together, are parted. Here's the bottom lip area. That's why this leg is skinnier than the other. Here's the open mouth of that creature. Here's the cheek. Right here in the eye, in that growing area of that child creates the eye. And it's letting me know what is being described with this Egyptian baby in so much as far as genes and genetics. I can describe what they are trying to tell you. All in picture glyphs, which create a multi-dimensional image, which describe genes. That's why you see an extraction of this coming over from here. That's why this piece is coming across into the ape's mouth. It's showing you genetic bridging of genes from our ancient ancestors from which we evolved. The same message that is there is actually being described here as well too. It appears, people, that our Egyptian ancestors made it to the moon, and the information has been cleverly suppressed to keep us from knowing the truth. You know, another thing which is amazing about this is that you have all these wild movies coming out to where these alien encounters. I remember one of the movies back where they had these alien spaceships leaving the pyramid, and I forget the name of that movie, but you know, they take all of these movies. You know, you have Hollywood people that has access to this information through ancient rooted religion and ancient rooted royalty. When you look at these blockbuster movies which involved a reality, it is a dimension, it is a reality of what is actually something that actually occurred back in the day, and you have no idea that it did, and they play on your imagination, and it's based on real information that they have. How did they get this information? Think of all of the invading parties, the British, those from ancient rooted religion, these people's ancient ancient explorers, which were, these earlier on explorations, which were commissioned by ancient rooted religion and ancient rooted royalty. Imagine them going in these pyramids, these temples, and finding the true actual information relating to space travel, everything, and then cleverly taking it and giving this bits and pieces of information to those that of different countries so they can travel to space and tell them what to look for. I'll describe that later in another video. It'll be too much to go on, but my mind, when I'm dealing with this stuff, it goes all over the place. And this is the reason why you see me going different places and thought with you. But it's my position that this is the dark side of the moon. This is the moon. And the Egyptians, Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti and their children, are describing on how their DNA, they were genetically bridged. And they're talking about seed planting. And they're describing locations, in my mind, which are there on the moon. Now, it sounds crazy, until I bring up this 1972 image again of the Apollo mission to the moon. Harrison Smith. And here you have evidence of Egyptian likenesses, glyphs, carvings which appear in Egyptian as well too, up here. All of these images which are similar to that of Egyptian. Amazingly, I forgot what they call this. They call this a canoe or something. I think the canoe, maybe that this box of the way they have these Egyptian writings in here, a canoe or canoe, whatever. However, this here, in my mind, is considered to be like a slab, like a plaque. Amazingly enough, a similar object appears behind the astronaut here, there, and then there's a ball. Now, I seen that ball somewhere. Oh, yeah, you see that ball there? And yeah, that's another thing that I want to bring up. You see this ball here? There's another ball. Where is it? Right next to it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, up on top of it. And I'm looking at this from backwards. Where we at here? There's a ball here. You see that ball? There's another ball there on that rock. You see that on that? And then there's just a squared off. This has symmetry to be squared off. You see that there? What is amazing about this? Look, there's two balls. There's a square. There's a ball here. There's a ball there. And then you have the Egyptian sun that I told you that they call the sun here with that piece in the middle and then the lines. Now check this out, because all of these objects appear here. You have that square slab. There's a ball. And then you have those lines on the other feature, as I showed you, which is off to the side. So the symbolization, which is here, it almost appears as if they're talking about Akhenaten and Nefertiti, as if they put their presence on the moon. Now, I have other images of where I transformed this object into a vessel. Portal. I call it a spaceship, a spacecraft cloaked in rock. Look at that video, people, that I have here. This is all Egyptian. This is all Egyptian, a Nubian face, signifying that Egyptians made it to the moon. And other glyphs that are detailed here. Egyptians made it to the moon. I'm going to make that video, that's probably going to be the name of this video. Egyptians made it to the moon. I'm going to end that video there, people. And I hope that I've convinced you with enough evidence of what I had to go here with. But I have no doubt that this object is signifying the moon, and this object is signifying a vessel and or a tomb, a device of transportation that was transported from our world to the moon. And this object that Harrison Smith is standing in front of is some type of teleportation device to where this object was a flying vessel which got transported to the moon. And the story which is being told is right here, which messages it. Because symbols that are here as well. And there is the most compelling symbol of them all. Right here. Right there. Right here. The ape, there's an ape's face there. Man's face there. Childlike face there. And then there's the dragon's head there. My name is Gerone Wright. I'm going to end that video there. And I'll put a little bit more in writing